Okay, friends, welcome back to our online Bible study in the Gospel of John. Our family sometimes plays Super Mario Brothers on the Nintendo. Now, if you've never played Super Mario Brothers or you haven't played it in a long time, you can actually play now where 4 people play at the same time. So Amy and I will often play, not often, we don't do this all that often, but when we play, Amy and I will play, and then 2 of the kids will play. We'll kind of trade off a little bit. And in Super Mario Brothers, you can lose your life. Either you ran into one of the mushroom guys or a turtle, or you fell in a pit or something like that. But no need to worry. You have more lives, right? So you fall, your character dies, but then you come back in a bubble and you're back to life. But eventually, if you die enough, you lose all of your lives and you can't come back anymore. And at that point, what our family calls it is being dead. So if I'm playing and I say I am dead, it means I'm out of lives. I can't come back. That idea is pretty important when we come to this part of the Gospel of John. Just look at the first verse here. The first verse, verse 17 in chapter 11. Now when Jesus came, he found Lazarus had already been in the tomb 4 days. So we know from yesterday that Lazarus has died. Now we find out that he has been in the tomb 4 days by the time that Jesus gets there. Why is that important? Now I read, even just this week, just a headline, I didn't read the article, about a woman who was at a care facility and they thought she was dead. They put her into a body bag and then she woke up and started trying to get out of the body bag. The article, I'm sure, I've not read it, is not suggesting that this woman was dead and then came back to life. No. They just made a mistake, okay? There's no room here for anybody who's running around with Jesus at the time to think that they just made a mistake. That Lazarus was not really dead and they just put him... No. Lazarus is dead. And things that are dead don't come back. You know who knows that? Martha knows that. Martha, the sister of Lazarus. So she and Jesus begin to have a conversation. And Hannah touched on this in her sermon this past Sunday, so you can go back and see that sermon to hear more about this. But she says, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. Like, Jesus, where have you been? And even now, I know that whatever you ask from God, God will give you. So Jesus, I know that if you had come, you could have healed him. And I know that whatever you ask now, God will give you. But I don't think that she thinks that within that realm of possibility of whatever he'll ask includes him coming back from being dead. Jesus said to her, your brother will rise again. Martha said, I know that he'll rise again in the resurrection on the last day. You see, there were some Jews at the time that did not believe that there would be a resurrection, that there was any kind of afterlife. And there were other Jews that believed that there would be a resurrection, not in the way that we think of heaven, but in the sense that they would be dead for a while and then would come back to life. She says, look, I believe that. I know that that's the case. But Jesus pushes her even further. I'm not talking about things being well one day. Jesus says, I am the resurrection and the life. Not like I will be, but I am. This is the 5th of the 7 I am statements, understanding more of who Jesus is and what it looks like to follow Jesus today. Is I am resurrection and I am life. Like I can give life and resurrection now. Whoever believes in me, though they die, yet shall they live. And whoever lives and believes in me shall never die. Do you believe this? Her response is basically, yeah. Like, I believe everything that you say. But here's the thing. She believes everything about what Jesus will say, but she doesn't understand it all. She knows that all things will be well one day. Julian of Norwich famously said, all things will be well, all things will be well, all manner of things will be well. She knows that everything will be well one day, but she does not believe. Not because she doesn't want to believe, but she just can't imagine that it's possible that Jesus could make this thing better today. And many of you know how the story ends. If you don't, you're kind of picking up on it. And we're going to get there eventually. But Jesus doesn't wait to make things better in the afterlife. In this situation, sometimes that happens. In this situation, things get made better now. You know, it's good for us to recognize that oftentimes things do not get better now, and that we have to wait until God makes everything right in the end. And sometimes we have to be satisfied in kind of that knowledge and that waiting. But do we also know that there are times when Jesus can bring things back to life that are dead. Dead. So, do you have hope that God will make things well in eternity? Good. But are there also some things that maybe God is nudging you to have hope that they can be made well now? What is something that you think is dead? Dead. Some dream that you have grieved the loss of, that maybe God is nudging you to say, yeah, have hope that that will be made well in eternity. But you can also have hope that it will be made well now. So I think that's just a place of reflection for us. Is there something that you've given up on? That Jesus is saying, no, I'm the resurrection and the life. It's time for you to have hope in this thing. Again, it's tricky. It's tricky, friends. It's tricky. There's no way to put a clean bow on this because there are some things that do not get made better until, like Julian in Norwich says, like one day all things will be made well. But I think that Jesus is also pushing us here to recognize, as he's trying to push Martha, that there are some things that we have given up on here and now that can be made better here and now also. So I wonder what that is for you. Okay, keep reading. This is a great story, but it's a challenging story. It's a tough story. Keep with your reading, and we'll see you again soon. God bless you, friends.